What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get into gold and silver and cryptocurrencies this morning really quickly because I want to show you something. Once again, I'm going to prove to you the points that I've been trying to make when it comes to the volatility of the market. But in addition to that, I want you to hear what they're saying about gold and silver and the shortages that are out there. I told you guys a long time ago to have faith in your investment into precious metals because they are going to take off. They're holding it down. Just picture a beach ball that you hold underwater. Eventually, it's going to pop up, and that's what's going to happen with precious metals. And speaking of, if you guys are thinking about buying precious metals, give our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange a consideration. For you first-time buyers, if you've not bought precious metals before and you go to Money Metals Exchange for your first time and you spend more than $100 on precious metals, use promo code Pimpy, Pimpy, and get a free half ounce of silver. The link is in the description. You guys know I'm having trouble over there on Facebook. I tried again this morning. They still have it on disabled, okay? But nonetheless, you can join me over here on Twitter for now. The links are in the description. All right, let's look at something. I want to show you something here pretty quick. I did a video last night, you can see on 10:30, and I was talking about cryptocurrencies. I told you they were starting to rebound. At the time I showed you, it was $13,593.56. That's what it was. It was going up. The 52-week high, in other words, over the past 52 weeks, the highest that it was $13,837.70. That was just a few days ago. So keep that in mind, because let me show you what happened. So it got up to $13,792. Nope. Look what happened overnight. It actually reached $14,027. So it made a new 52-week high last night and then came back down. So from the 13,589, it is now sitting at 13,792. But it did get as high as $14,000, hit a resistance, and came back down. You see that? I told you the volatility when it comes to cryptocurrencies will drive you insane. But it is slowly but surely climbing up. So it goes up so high, then comes down a little. Goes up so high, then comes down a little. But it continues to grow. So this is why I tell you guys, when you do cryptocurrencies, okay, when you're in cryptocurrencies, just pick which one you want to invest in. Put your money into it, and then don't watch the markets because you will go insane. You'll pull your hair out because it goes up in these weird, huge swings. But it looks like the growth on at least Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to be healthy. Other ones are trying to catch up. We don't see no growth going on with XRP. Litecoin was starting to make a run. It went up a little bit and it's still kind of up there. Hasn't lost very much ground, but it's still up there. That's for sure. XLM, again, it's just kind of lingering around the same spot, and we're stanky chain. Yep, it went up there, then it came back down. It's just lingering. But for the most part, Bitcoin and Ethereum have been consistently growing at a real healthy pace. I did a video the other day showing you year to date which one is outperforming all, which is Ethereum, which you would have made 2.5 times your original investment at this time last year had you put money into it. I still have all my faith in Ethereum. So for the most part, you guys look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. So even though you see them go down and up, they continue. So they might go up about $500, but come down about $400, and go up $600 and come down about $100. You know what I mean? So you're going to see this up, down motion. So if you're interested in cryptocurrencies, I do have a link in the description. If you follow it, it'll give you $10 free just for joining there. The cool thing about Coinbase is this. If you scroll down about halfway, once your account is set up, it gives you an opportunity to earn free cryptocurrencies, over $100 worth, just by watching some videos. It's real simple to do. Okay, so even though the market got hit a little bit, we could see that gold is still slightly creeping up, just little by little. So is silver. It hasn't moved a whole lot since the close of market yesterday. As a matter of fact, the prices aren't being reflected since the close of yesterday, which is very, very interesting, considering even when the markets are closed, you do see these move, but they don't seem to be moving at all. Makes me very suspicious about what's going on. Maybe we need to refresh it. Let's see what happens when we refresh it. Okay, so again, I just wanted to show you this since the video that I did yesterday. You know, Bitcoin went from 13,580 plus dollars all the way up to over 14,000. So that's the thing about cryptocurrencies that will drive you insane, is that the volatility is really, really crazy. So you can see right here, see this? $14,027. It hit a resistance and came back down. There was a correction or a sell-off is more like it. Okay, so gold and silver, yeah, they haven't changed. Oh, yeah, it did. Okay. No, it hasn't changed since yesterday's close. So they're still there. All right, so let me give a shout out to Arcadia Economics. They brought my attention to this video. This is called Sprott Money Weekly, News Weekly. This one's from last week, obviously. But I want you to hear what he has to say. Remember I told you that India kind of, for somewhere around 18 months or so, had closed off the precious metal market to their citizens for some reason. And then all of a sudden they opened it up. Well, this is a problem. Didn't I tell you it was going to cause a problem? Well, guess what? Yeah, it's causing a huge problem. There is a gold and silver shortage coming up. So for those of us who are ahead of the ball game and you're holding on to your precious metals, congratulations, because eventually this is going to get out in a large way, and the demand for the precious metals is going to be so high, and there's going to be no market for it because nobody is going to want to part with their precious metals until the prices get high. But let's listen to Eric Sprott here and listen to what he has to say, because it's very interesting.
But in the gold and silver world, Eric, we've seen some interesting numbers around the world about silver imports and exports, and certainly seems to be picking up.
You know, one of the funniest ones, and I think I even mentioned this one or two times ago, I'm always intrigued by what's going on in India, and every time I
me too.
search Google for what's going on in gold in India, it always says nobody's buying any, okay? And as I said then, and then they bring the numbers out and you find out that whatever you read that month was always wrong. And we finally got the import numbers for August, and quite frankly, they were stunning 58 tons. Why do I say stunning? Because about 4 months ago, there was almost zero imports into India. And let's round the 58 to 60. That's an annualized 720 tons in a 4,000-ton market.
Okay, so that's about 10% of the overall market. Now remember, it was in August that I told you that India started allowing their citizens to start buying precious metals again. All right? He's saying that when he Googled to find out if India is buying any precious metals and how much, Google's saying they're buying nothing. It's lying. They're controlling the market by not only censoring political news when we want to put it out there, but they're also censoring financial news. This is how bad things are. So you heard Eric Sprott here tell you that even though Google said that India is not buying any gold, that's a lie. Just in August by itself, they bought 58 tons. Rounded up to about 60, he said. If you do that over the whole year's period, what do we get here? Well, it's about 720 tons of... Is that right? No, that's more than that. Let's say, sorry about that, but I'm thinking about it. I should just do it in my head really quick. But if you're just rounding things out, all right? If we do 60, like he said, times 12, what are we looking at here? So, 720 tons of silver or gold that they're bringing in per year. That's what the average would be. That's what they would bring for the whole year. Now, considering there's only 4,000 being mined per year, so they're above 10%. That's just going to India's citizens. Do you see what I'm saying?
That is not a small amount of gold
Nope.
to be importing. So it was very interesting to see them coming into it. I watched a presentation of Andrew Maguire where he spoke about the Chinese buying doré bars in in Africa and South America.
Remember I told you about this? China stopped buying gold all of a sudden for some reason, and at the beginning of this month started buying Dory bars, silver. They've now focused tons of attention are on silver now. And I mean, they are buying it up in huge amounts of quantity, huge amounts.
And that was kind of a new model for them. And that data may not even get reported because it doesn't go through a refinery. So to me, if we have India and China coming back in here, and we have the investment demand remaining the way it is, and the COMEX deliveries, I think we can make a very compelling case for gold shortages.
Gold and silver shortages. Remember, silver is more scarce than gold is. It has way more industrial uses. And because of this, there's a rush to buy silver by countries. Yes, because the one that controls the most, right now, JP Morgan has the most in the world. But keep in mind, JP Morgan's largest client is China. Go figure. So, of course, they're going to manipulate the market and allow China to try to gobble up as much silver as possible. So the anticipation is that China is a lot closer than we have thought about pushing the world into the gold standard. Whether Trump does it or not, they seem to be a lot closer to this than we had anticipated. All right, not to mention the industrial uses for silver. You guys, this is a very, very unique time in history for us. Keep stacking silver, and I can't stress this enough. They're running out of precious metals. So the demand is going to increase as people start waking up to what's really going on in the economy. If we go back to the gold standard and silver standard, the prices are going to go really high. My thought is this. Let me run a theory past you. With the scarcity in precious metals and the average Joe and Joan buying precious metals, which one of the ways that the governments and these big corporations can discourage or reduce or keep poor people from buying precious metals? How about you jack the price up so high they can't afford it? Yeah. Doesn't it make sense? Then governments could buy it. Sure, it's going to cost them a little bit more, but then they have access to the precious metals because not a lot of people could afford to buy them. But it's a great damn thing that my subscribers have been paying attention to what I'm saying, and so many of you are ahead of the ball game. Yep, you are way ahead of the ball game. That means you're going to benefit from the largest wealth transformation that we've ever seen in our lifetimes, one way or another, period. If we go to this socialist New Green Deal thing, the demand for silver is going to increase. Even if we don't, we go back to the gold and silver standard, there's not enough out there, silver nor gold. You just heard it. China stopped buying gold and went directly and specifically into silver. They started locking exclusivity contracts in with silver mining companies around the world.
And while I'm on the COMEX, I found it rather interesting. I plot every day the change in deliveries, open interest, the change in the spot month open interest, which is very intriguing these days. Is almost every day the open interest in the spot month goes up. And so, for example, in the last 2 days when we had the big update and the big down day, the open interest was down by about 2,500 contracts. But the deliveries were like 1,500, and the open interest in the spot contract went up by 1,000. So the decline in open interest was exactly equal to the deliveries. And, of course, that excludes the EFPs, exchange for physicals, which are also another 6,000 contracts. So I think things are getting tight on the COMEX. One other thing that
I told you they were. Didn't I tell you there's been a lot of stress on the COMEX? I've been telling you guys, hang tight. Don't worry about what the market says. They're stressing the COMEX. They don't have enough precious metals. Remember, they exclusively work with only 46 mines to get the metals for them to where they buy their metals from, period. increase that list to over 147 different trusted places where they get their metals from. So it went from like about 40 something to 140 something just because they need to do something to cover the inventory that they sold that they didn't have. There's not enough precious metals out there, you guys. I keep telling you, sooner or later, it's going to skyrocket. Now, as usual, we are coming into November, and you'll see a gentleman who says this all the time in our comments when it comes to gold and silver. He's expecting and announcing that, as usual, in November, what happens is we see gold and silver prices drop. But again, you can't always rely on it, but it does traditionally, only because we go into holidays and the demand decreases as people prepare for the holidays, okay? But again, you guys, this might be the time you want to buy some as gifts for people, all right? So feel happy, feel good about your investments into precious metals.
Andrew McGuire mentioned, he says, well, you know, these guys who want to buy gold, they just go to the COMEX now. They go right to the COMEX, say, hey,
directly to the COMEX.
Fine, I'll pay spot. Here, sell me 500 contracts.
Isn't that crazy? Now they're willing to pay spot price, usually to get discounts. No, they don't care. They want to demand delivery on demand, and they're willing to pay the spot price. I don't know how much more of a bigger indicator I can give you guys that you should feel very, very happy about your precious metals. It's not going to stay at this level much longer. The prices have been horizontal. So what? That's a great time for us to buy and stack up before the damn prices get up so high we can't afford it. Keep stacking.
And you see it now on a daily basis. So, and that's different because in the olden days, you know, we would always trade gazillions of ounces. No one would ever take any. And now, of course, the shipments for the month of
what he's talking about is contracts are usually traded amongst each other. They don't actually take physical control of the metals that they deal with. It just sits in the COMEX. People trade contracts. They trade the paper. That's how it used to be. Did you hear what he said? In the olden days, we never took control of the metals. We just traded contracts. Notice he said in the olden days, as in that's past tense. What does that mean? Well, now they're taking physical control of the precious metals.
October are going to be stunning here. We're well through 30,000 contracts. It might be at 35,000 contracts when it's all said and done. So, yep. I mean, that's a lot of ounces and tons of gold, over 100 tons of gold. So, so the COMEX is doing their part. The Indians and the Chinese are doing their part. And I would say the investors, we're all doing our part too. And that goes for both gold and silver. I always find it interesting that, you know, we don't even produce 1 billion ounces of silver, but let's use 1 billion because it's an easy number to work with. That's 25 billion in value. And maybe 10 billion of that is available for investment. And the COMEX, as an example, yesterday traded 8.8 billion of silver that day.
Right.
And that.
So you see what he's saying? So they did trades in $8 billion worth of silver, but they don't have $8 billion worth of silver. So what's going on right now is what's being exposed is the corruption that is being done on the market pertaining to gold and silver. They are trading on the open market paper-wise for silver they don't actually have. So the COMEX in the market has been exposed for the frauds that they are, and now they're being called to task. So they don't have enough gold and silver to cover the contracts that they sold. That's illegal. They're being exposed. This is why now they've increased the number of people in which they purchase precious metals from. They're panicking. They're trying to figure out how to cover all the contracts. This is a scam. They're screwed. As time goes on, sooner or later, people are going to stop selling shorts. And when we saw one bank did it, but they're going to stop shorting the market, and eventually it's going to take off like a skyrocket. Nobody's going to want to sell. People are going to demand that they get the golds that they and the precious metals that they bought from the comics, and the comics is not going to be able to cover that. People need to go to jail. This is what I'm saying. Enough of this crap about making these banks pay fines. When the F are these people going to jail? They've been ripping people off now for decades and getting away with it. And the politicians protect them. All right? So be happy, you guys. This is what I'm talking about. You just keep buying precious metals and you don't stop. At all costs, you do what you need to do to keep storing up. I want you to feel good about the investment and stop paying attention to the market. They're going to do whatever they can to shake speculators from their inventory. They're going to try to get it out of your hands one way or another. No matter what, you don't liquidate. Remember the other day we did a video and the guy said, do not liquidate. Don't. Liquidate means sell, for those of you who don't know. I know sometimes you get in these desperate situations, you're like, man, I don't have a choice, Pimpy. Find a way, you guys. Find a way. I told you so many stories about these kids who collect aluminum cans, about this lady who got her second part-time job. You know what I mean? She's all that money and she loves it now. All that money from her second job goes 100% to precious metals. And she now has a huge collection, by the way. And I want you to remind you that this is the same lady that in our comments was saying, oh, I see how it is. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. We'll never be able to benefit. This is her. And she went and she got a second job. But she said at first she was tired. But when she got that first paycheck from her second job and she started putting it into precious metals, she was excited. But not as excited as once those precious metals came in the mail. And she has been excited since then. And like he's saying, see, you have to find a way. And she did. And now she's got, I don't want to, without her permission, tell you, but she has got quite a few ounces of silver. Okay, and she keeps adding to that pile. I can tell you this, she's well over 1,000. That's all I can tell you for now. And this is the person who said, oh, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. Well, she's got well over 1,000 between her part-time job that she's putting all her money into, and she sold one of her cars that was kind of broken down, and she got, a few $1,000s for it. So, between the two, she's figuring out ways. Now she's looking around her house to have a yard sale. That's what you got to do. That's what I'm talking about. Look, you can't sit back and go, oh man, I want thousands of ounces too, but there's no way I could get it. You don't have to try to just shoot for 1,000 ounces. Try to just get any. Julie, you're out there. I'm going to use you a little bit. You know who you are. She's talking about she's on a fixed income. She's on a fixed income, and she still is able to come up with 50 ounces or so. I don't know what that noise is, but nonetheless, you guys, anyways, it's time for me to go. That's the video. Anyways, let me know what you think. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. What the hell is that noise? All right, I'll catch you later.